You're listening to The Alex Jones Show.
Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
Welcome back to the Alex Jones Show. I'm David Knight, joined in studio with Anthony Gucciardi. We just took a phone call from a physician in Missouri, essentially verifying what you found, Anthony, when you were in Dallas. You came across medical professionals that were up there that were saying that they're hearing that there are a lot of people that are being diagnosed with Ebola that are just disappearing out of the system. And nobody's talking about it. And that's what he was saying. He had some firsthand knowledge of that happening in Missouri as well.
No, absolutely. And they ignore it, and they get calls from these doctors. These aren't just idiots. These are MDs that know how to diagnose Ebola. And as he was saying, they just claim it's malaria without actually doing a test, even though we're in a potential pandemic zone right now, and then just qualify it. And they even sometimes will call the CDC and say, hey, we don't know if this is malaria. What should we do? And the CDC says, it's okay. Everything's fine. And then we have heard reports of people, especially on the border, being disappeared with Ebola-like symptoms. Someone comes in a van, oh, we're going to come treat you, takes them away. MDs don't hear anything. They have access to their medical records to see what happened, and they're not even in the records anymore.
And then we've got a couple of breaking reports today on the news. 2 sick passengers on flights from Liberia being monitored at Chicago hospitals. A similar situation in Newark. Now, we've seen this happen many times, and they come back and they say, well, never mind, they didn't have it. Of course, we don't have the person's name or anything. That's the very thing that the Washington Post is pushing back against that Liberian paper, saying that, well, they didn't get the guy's name, so the reports of him doing things with formaldehyde in people's water supply, that really doesn't apply. But, you know, how do you verify this? You know, how do you verify whether these people really didn't have it or whether they were just disappeared into the system?
Well,
it's very hard to do that.
You don't really need to verify the fact that we're facing a major threat when you think about the fact that these nurses are basically going in treating patients with trash bags on their head.
Yes. Yeah.
And you don't have to really verify the fact that we're going to have an Ebola outbreak when we don't even screen until apparently now we are doing some minor screening people with Ebola coming into the United States, or when we don't shut down travel to Ebola-infected countries where millions are going to have Ebola. You don't have to, you know, it's pretty safe to assume or infer, because to assume is bad. To infer is to use evidence to reach a logical conclusion. Yeah. I'm going to infer that shipping people in with Ebola into the United States so we're tolerant enough to spread Ebola into the United States, into U.S. citizens, is going to lead to some type of outbreak. And
well, we're also shipping thousands of soldiers in without protective equipment, without really any training. They get 4 hours of training and everything, but they're going to be fine because they're not going to be in direct contact with anyone, we're told. How do you control that when you go into the hot zone? Let's go to some of our callers who've been waiting for a long time. We got Earl in Florida. You wanted to call in with your take on Ebola. Go ahead.
Yeah, how you doing, Anthony? I'm a long-time listener of Alex Show. I was just kind of curious. Everyone, you know, every time I go on the internet or, you know, look around on TV, everyone seems to be sensationalizing the Ebola thing. What I'm curious to know is how come nobody has gone into the realm of testing certain things, certain ways, certain products, like the UV, like the ultraviolet machine they use to clear up, you know, emergency rooms. Why can't they put someone on dialysis and run a long tubing system going through it and subject the blood to the ultraviolet to see what happens? How about some colloidal silver tests with patients that already have it?
You're 100% right. No, that's the exact same question I'm asking. You're asking, why aren't they looking at the research from Harvard in 2010, from the National Cancer Institute in Maryland in 2003, where we say, hey, there's ways to inhibit Ebola. The mice are completely immune to Ebola when they're given proper amounts of mannose-binding lectins. Or, hey, look at colloidal silver. Let's look at all these things. Let's not go out and immediately say it cures everything, but let's look at it. Instead, they're ignoring it completely. And as David was saying over the break, they're just saying you're either going to get Ebola and die or you're not. It's just a magic thing that's going to happen, and we can't protect ourselves in any way. And and our immune systems don't exist. So we should just listen to the government and fly over. We should, you know, we should go to Liberia.
That's right.
We should go to Liberia with a trash bag on our head and run around and say, we won't get it. It'll be okay.
It's Russian roulette. And so the question is, are you going to play Russian roulette with 1 bullet in the chamber, or are you going to play it with 6 bullets in the chamber? That's the question. Thanks. We're going to be right back after the break. We're going to talk about Ebola with Francis Boyle at the bottom of the hour. He's someone who knows intimately about bioweapons. Stay with us.
When you're out on the road, the last place you want to be is on the road. But if the unfortunate happens, you'll be glad you were wearing diamond gussets.
There's a place down in Tennessee where they make blue diamond gusset jeans. They so pride in every stitch, guarantee you'll love the way they fit. They put a diamond gusset in the crotch where you need it most. Blue diamond gussets got it, others don't.
We turn jeans inside out. Diamond gusset jeans. Made in the USA with unparalleled quality. Our Defender motorcycle jeans combine gusset comfort with Kevlar protection, so you can ride all day with confidence. Order yours at gusset.com. Diamond gusset jeans got it. Others don't.
The experts are clear. Sunlight, purified water, healthy non-GMO food, and having a good attitude is essential to a healthy immune system. But I go further with Super Nascent Iodine X2 from InfoWarsLife.com. 50% stronger than our original and revolutionary Nascent Iodine formula, coming from a deep earth crystal source that no other supplier has. Most other forms of iodine come from seaweed in areas plagued by Fukushima and other contaminants. Not our iodine. It comes from over 200 million-year-old crystal salt deposits and is tested and proven to be completely pure. Visit InfoWarsLife.com today. See the informational videos. Read the information they're compiled. And for a limited time, when you use promo code NOW at checkout, you get an additional 5% off the entire family of InfoWarsLife.com products. Secure your Survival Shield X2 today at InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139. From the water table to our soils to the atmosphere itself, our world is becoming more and more toxic each and every day. But it's not just the air outside that's toxic. Indoor air has been shown to have 2 to 5 times higher concentrations of pollutants than even outdoor air. And most Americans spend 90% of their time inside using toxic chemicals within their homes. There are more than 42 million smokers in the United States. Well over 1,000 types of mold and mildew linked to numerous conditions. And don't forget the fact that 6 million Americans live with pets they're allergic to as well. When I began to research these statistics, it was clear to me it was time to start cleansing my lungs in order to combat the toxic environment that we cannot escape, but that we can fight back against. Made with organic and wild cultivated herbs and manufactured in the USA, the new InfoWars Life Lung Cleanse is here in a convenient spray bottle that can be brought with you throughout any toxic environment. Now available exclusively at InfoWarsLife.com or by calling toll-free 888-253-3139.
We now take you live to the Central Texas Command Center in the heart of the resistance. You're listening to The Alex Jones Show.
Welcome back to The Alex Jones Show. I'm David Knight. We just had Anthony Gucciardi here talking about health issues. And, of course, he was talking about a 10-year-old study out of Harvard talking about how the mechanisms of compounds that they were seeing analyzing that they noticed that certain people had an immunity, not only against Ebola, but against a wide range of viruses. What's going on with that? Why aren't we hearing more about that research? That's what one of our callers was asking us. He said, we don't hear about that. We don't hear about the ultraviolet machine that goes in. I think it's like 25,000 times the intensity of regular sunlight. They put it into a room, turn it on for like 5 minutes on either side of the bed, and it basically kills all germs, all viruses, because, you know, it's not just Ebola. That's not the major killer at this point. Everybody's concerned about it because it has been spreading so rapidly throughout Africa. This is a different strain, by the way, of Ebola than they've ever seen before. And all the previous outbreaks, all of them combined, they've had 2,400 people come down with it. We're approaching 10,000. It's about 9,700 now at this point, last I saw a couple of days ago. So we're already in this one outbreak, 4 times as many as we've seen in the last couple of decades of Ebola. So this is a different strain, and we're going to be talking at the bottom of the hour to Francis Boyle. He's someone who knows a great deal about bioweapons and about the bioweapon labs that are in that part of Africa. He has some interesting questions about what's going on there. But, you know, there's also a question, and we raised this as well in an article I wrote on Infowars.com, and, of course, we were attacked for asking the rhetorical question, if convalescent serum is not an effective treatment, then why is the U.S. military and pharmaceutical companies and big tobacco, why are they spending millions of dollars and waiting months to roll out a synthetic imitation of that? The WHO and the CDC says, well, it's unproven. No, actually, they've had a lot of success with that, going back with a lot of different diseases. Diphtheria was the first one. I had someone win the Nobel Prize, a German scientist, back in 1901 for using that. This is something that's been around for about 125 years. It's very well known. We've seen that the people who have received blood transfusions from Kent Brantley have largely recovered. We've now got news that Nina Pham, who's the most recent one to get it, is improving rapidly. And the NBC cameraman who received blood from Kent Brantley has now been said that he is recovered, that there's no sign of Ebola in his blood. So why don't we see those things being covered? Well, of course, there's a money trail involved in that. But if you point that out, if you point out that pharmaceutical companies and have done this in the past with things like medical marijuana being prohibited, yet their synthetic versions of it are allowed and sold, we see this over and over again. But if we point that out, we're simply conspiracy theorists. But I want to take a couple more calls because, you know, as we see these things not being done, we don't see the UV machines being sent with the troops going in. We had a caller here, Ironhead in Washington. He wanted to talk about the 5,000 troops that are being sent in. Of course, they're not getting the upgraded protection suits. They're not getting any instructions, really. They're getting like 4 hours of instructions and some face masks and gloves. That is not what the CDC says is safe. They've upped the protocol, including respirators, just this last Monday. So they're walking back their comments saying, oh, don't worry about that. You don't need to have anything other than just a face mask. Ironhead, what did you want to say about the troops that are being injected into the Ebola outbreak in Liberia?
Well, you just hit it right on the head there. Footnote, do you remember Dr. Mary's monkey, Ed Haslam, and what he showed us was the SV40 cancer virus being basically introduced to the entire smallpox vaccination. Personally, I think what's possibly potentially coming down is the exact same scenario. You put 5,000 troops over there, they become a vector metric to bring that back in and, you know, spread it throughout, first of all, the military and then throughout the civilian population.
Yes, absolutely. And Dr. Francis Boyle, that we're going to have at the bottom of the hour, raised that exact question. He said, why are we sending in this unit that is known for being a special ops unit, and yet they don't have any specific medical skills that they're doing here? I mean, do we need to send that kind of a combat unit, an elite combat unit, into that area in order to build buildings? How do we keep them secure? Can't they get contractors to go into that area? I mean, that's the concern that everybody has about that. And again, as I said, we're going to be talking to him at the bottom of the hour. I'm anxious to get his comments on that. I want to move from Ebola now to the shooting that happened this morning in Canada. We've got a couple of Canadian callers who've been on hold, and I'd like to get an update on that information. Eric in Canada, you wanted to talk about the Ottawa shooting?
Yes. I've been in the military for a year now, right? And I've been concerned about, like, what do you think is the safety on our troops? And also, do you think this could also be a good excuse for them to get rid of the guns? And I'd like to see what you guys can say on that.
To get rid of the guns? Well, you've already got pretty heavy gun control there, don't you? It's kind of like Connecticut, where they had a lot of gun control, but it didn't stop the school from getting shot up. I mean, what do you make of the idea that this could happen at the Parliament building? I mean, obviously they would have some armed guards at the Parliament building, wouldn't they?
Yeah, you'd think so. I've remember seeing an article a couple years ago saying that they had no security, but I think it was like in 2006 they decided to enhance the security with MP5 submachine guns and the C9 rifles. But as far as I'm concerned, I think, gun control simply doesn't work. Like, if you can see, in a place that has heightened gun control, it gets more chaos like this, hey, anything can happen, right?
Well, what you can see is that even with all the Secret Service agents around Obama, they can't protect him from somebody just running across the White House lawn and into the White House. We see now the same thing happening in Parliament. Are you hearing anything on the news about this being an organized terrorist event? Last I heard, they had